Welcome to Ear Biscuits, the podcast where two lifelong friends talk about life for a long time. I'm Link.
And I'm Rhett. This week at the round table of dim lighting, we are doing something very exciting, something new. We're going to be listening to your voicemails in response to our prompt. I was today years old when I learned fill in the blank. And so our new number, 1888.
Don't leave out that 8.
Ear Pod 1. 1888 Ear Pod 1. What is it again? I want to sing it the same way.
Oh, I don't. 1888
Ear Pod 1. Yeah, that's it. And
was that it?
So this is our new line where you can call to answer the prompts that we usually put out on Twitter. In this case, this was a Twitter prompt. That's how you can know what we were asking you, but also any comments, any questions, any observations, any corrections, any hopes and dreams, whatever you want to leave on the line, you can do that.
Mm-hmm. I like the idea of that. I like the idea of hearing your voice. And so don't be shy. Call in, let us know something. Keep it short. Now, listen, I'm gonna spring something on you here. And I do want to hear the thing that you wanted to tell me about because I am excited about hearing about it.
Okay.
But, and you probably know where I'm going with this. People always ask, when they want to get asked good questions about us working together and being friends for so long, do you guys ever fight? And let me tell you, we just had a fight. I would call it a fight. Woo, it was, I mean,
you called it a fight?
On a 0 to 10 scale of intensity, what would you say that what I'm calling a fight before we came in here was? I have a number in my head.
10 being the time that we slapped each other and almost got into a physical fight?
10 being if we were fighting and then we did start, it did get physical, which that's never happened.
I'd say it got to a 6.
Okay, yeah, I was thinking it could have been a 7. It's I didn't think that the podcast was in jeopardy, but that was part of it. It was on the table, but I didn't think it was imminent.
I didn't feel like it was about to go off the rails.
So why don't I think we should share. People want to know about us fighting.
Do you want me to give my perspective?
It's very fresh. I'm gonna even let you go first.
So I'm not gonna give
maybe strategic.
I'm not gonna give the details about what we were arguing about because it would be boring, and B, would also reveal something that we're working on.
That's true. Yeah, we're not.
I don't want to. So, we had a conversation about this thing yesterday, and I was concerned about it. Not anything with you, but just concerned about some details that are kind of changing about something, and it's just it was on my mind. I went home thinking about it, and so then.
And I was in the meeting too, and I was also concerned about it in the meeting.
Right. So, I have a tendency to, I will just say exactly. Now you may think,
just say what happened.
Yeah. Well, no. Well, I'm just saying. I think this is I think the argument is based in our differences in approach to these things. So, we were getting ready for the podcast in the wardrobe room. I was putting on a little powder. Can you tell? And I was like, I'll tell you, I'm kind of concerned about fill in the blank. And blah, 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 blah. And then what I heard from you is just you shouldn't be concerned about that. That's not a big deal. It's being handled. That's what you said. What I heard from you is that I don't want to get into this right now because we're about to do a podcast and I don't like to open up a can of worms before we go into performance mode, which I respect, by the way, and ended up telling you that I do respect it.
Yeah.
And I think it
got heated first.
Well, because what I said was because there was literally a moment where you said, "Well, what are you going to do about it?" When we were talking about the concern, and I was like, "Oh, okay, we're in that place again where what you are expecting from the conversation is if we're going to talk about something, let's talk about it, let's have a real conversation about it, and let's solve the problem." My brain doesn't work that way. My brain is just hey, I'm thinking this right now and I'm putting on some makeup and I'm just gonna say what's on my mind. Just because hey, this is something that we're gonna have to solve eventually. I'm just thinking about it, I'm gonna talk about it.
Yeah, and you know what I'm thinking about but not talking about? This.
Right.
Like what we're about to do. Oh, we're doing this. This is the first time we've ever done this. Like I'm thinking about this. Like I'm thinking about the details of it and like, trying to perfectionize it. Getting into the weeds.
And so when you got
So I'm dabbing my face, can you tell? With some powders. So many powders. Good God. Yeah, and then you
get multiple powders?
You bring up the thing and then I'm like, you know what? I realized there's a part of this. Well, remember the other conversation we had about fill in the blank that then mitigates the concern that we have that I felt like, okay, my buddy Rhett here is getting up in arms. Like he's concerned about this. I bet you he was thinking about it last night. I bet you, and this is the first thing we're talking about this morning, so it's like, he might have not slept at all. He might have been thinking about this all night. And I'm like, you know what? There's a mitigating factor about fill in the blank from another conversation. Don't you remember that? That like, I actually didn't think about it. And you were like, well, I was in the meeting, but I don't remember hearing that. And I'm like, well, I really think it's being handled.
And that was helpful information.
And I just don't think we need to worry about it. What I never said was, you know what? I'm not in the headspace to discuss this. Can we pause this? Like, I did not do that. Instead, I will own the fact that like, I was the one who escalated it. I felt like you were in an elevated state of alarm that I thought was detrimental to the task at hand, this podcast. I felt that. Now you told me that I was wrong. I respect that. So I felt like I need to protect where we were going. And so I told you something that was not a deflection or a coping mechanism, but it was an actual opinion based on facts that this is not something to be alarmed about. So basically my first communication to you was calm down. Which then your response was, even though I didn't use the words calm down, your response was, well, listen, you telling me to calm down is...
That's the only thing I'm upset about, because I actually wasn't...
Made you mad.
I wasn't...
That made you mad.
Yeah, because I wasn't upset.
Never in the history, you know the saying, in the history of calm down...
Calm down doesn't calm anybody
has telling somebody to calm down got them to calm down. And that really set you off. So then all of a sudden you were at the place that I was trying to get you to not be because of what I said. And then I'm like, oh God, now you're mad at me? And then I'm mad at you because you're mad at me because I'm doing.
I think some spittle just went in my eyeball right now.
Listen, don't play the victim.
Well, it just happened.
Don't play the victim. You're mad at me because I'm trying to protect, I'm trying to put you at ease. I'm trying to calm you down.
And so
I don't need to be calmed down, you say?
The lesson learned for me, which
no, but what was the next step? That's not the end of the fight. People want to know about the fight.
I simply said.
When did the arm wrestling come into it?
I simply said.
There was no arm wrestling.
I mean, first of all, I said that
At that point, you were mad.
Well,
then I was like, I know I have a look on my face that I'm also very mad and I can't hide it.
No, and what I said was, this feels like what happens not infrequently, which is just like, you're getting on the track of, hey, I'm about to do the podcast, and I'm on that track right now, and I have reconciled the particular concern that you're bringing up, and I've put it in a place in my brain that minimizes my anxiety related.
I've compartmentalized something that could bring me anxiety.
And you are trying to open the compartment right before I go and do something where I want to be in a certain mind space. And so I was like, and this is what I say now, I respect that because that's not how my brain works. So I forget sometimes because I'm not thinking about it. Because again, I'm thinking about the podcast, but I'm also thinking about the problem at the same time, kind of back and forth. And then if I was operating by myself, it would be like, okay, I can have this intense thought process and then immediately detach from it and come in here and go into performance mode.
And I don't think that's true across the board in every circumstance.
Oh yeah.
Which I referred to another one where we both agreed that wasn't the case.
Yeah, I'm not saying I'm impervious to it.
But it frustrates you when something's on your mind that we should talk about and you want to talk about it and you find yourself talking about it and then I'm putting up walls where even though I might have good reasons for why it's like I should dissolve the concern or of the subject matter, you feel like it's just a wall and saying, nope, I don't want to talk about this, and me exerting control in order to protect myself, which frustrates you because you're just like, why can't we just talk about whatever we're thinking or whatever I'm thinking, in that moment. And then I'm interpreting it as judgment that you're like, oh, so is this a low blow that I can't multitask? Huh? If I was as skilled as you are, this is nothing you're actually saying or even believing. This is something that I project on you, that like you're judging me for not being as multitask able as you are. And I'm like, well, it goes a lot deeper than that. And then I'm defensive about something you haven't even leveled at me. So then, it's really getting nasty. And that's what, I guess this might be an 8 in my mind.
Really? I felt like it was, ultimately I felt like it was healthy because.
Yeah, me too.
Because again, if I had to do it all over again, I would be like, okay, while I may like, if I thought about this for a second, I'd be like, if I bring this up right now, then that's a cue for Link to have a conversation that we solve the problem. That's not what I'm thinking. I'm just thinking out loud. So if I had to go back, I would be like, okay, you have this concern, but we're about to do a podcast. Don't bring it up. Wait until there's another moment. But
and you turned the conversation to that in the moment, which, you know what? I appreciate that. I think that's when it started to dissolve a little bit. I think the only thing I did was to try to settle things was I was like, if I thought that you were alarmed and I thought there wasn't a need for alarm for concrete reasons that I told you. So I wasn't just trying to give you an empty calm down, but I know that's infuriating. So I'm sorry that my message came across that way. But if I had to do it over again, what I would have done is, because I would have said, like I said, now's not a good time for me to engage in this problem. I do have concerns about it, but I don't think I'm as concerned as you are, but I don't want to be. So let's table this conversation. Mm-hmm. And I would just ask, could we do that? Because I also don't expect for you to just be walking around on eggshells with everything you think, trying to anticipate if it's a good time for Link to be able to handle it. It's like, I don't want to be that guy, and I don't think it's fair for you to have to, the onus isn't on you. I would say it's a nice 50-50. So I think if we both redid what we said, then that would have been a beautiful thing. I think, and I do acknowledge that if we would have done that, you might have been the one that experienced more frustration than me, which is interesting. Taking one for the team.
If I had brought it up and you said, I don't want to talk about this right now.
Yeah, and you'd been like, and then if you would have just been like, okay, you would have experienced a little bit of frustration, but I wouldn't have. So it's not about right or wrong. It's not about like who's got skills that the other one doesn't have, or, So I feel good about it now. And you'll feel good about it when you get more clarity, when we actually talk about it some more.
Yeah, but I think this is good because it's a reminder to not, again, I don't think it's a walking on eggshells thing necessarily, but I know that I have a tendency to, because this is the way, if you were just to isolate the conversation in my brain, apart from anybody that I'm talking to, it would be like, so many disparate thoughts popping into my brain at all. I probably have some form of mild ADHD. I don't know. I've never been diagnosed, and I don't want to take that from somebody who actually has it. But
that's not how ADHD works. There's not like
There's
a
only
certain
enough to
number
go
of
around.
people.
I mean, I don't want to, belittle someone's experience because I have a family full of people with ADHD. But, and so, yeah, it's just a reminder that it's just like, okay, I can't bring, because I'm not saying
that you're the problem.
Because it's not, because you just characterize it as, you think you've got skills. You didn't say that, but you said that's where your mind could go, is that you think you've got an ability that I don't have. I don't see it as, because technically multitasking is not a real thing, right? Like you actually can't do two things at once. But there's a switching between things very quickly that people, I don't know, if you have a brain like mine, whether it's ADHD or not, like switching between things very quickly is just the way that your mind works. But that becomes difficult when you're interacting with someone whose brain doesn't work in that way, and you're doing like 12 different things, and it requires like certain emotional readiness to like do something like this. Mm-hmm. So to me, it's just I wouldn't say it's a frustration to bring it up and then be told that. It's just more of a reminder. It's like, oh, okay, yes, we'll have an opportunity to talk about that at another time. So I'm sorry for bringing it up when I did.
Well, I don't feel like I should forgive you because I feel like it was, I appreciate the apology. I forgive you as much as you need forgiveness, whatever that means. I need to be sorry for something now.
You already apologized.
For what?
I can't remember exactly.
Well, did you forgive and forget, or did you just forget?
Well, because I wasn't, I got mad in the moment, or not mad. I didn't get mad in the moment. I was like, okay, it feels like you're trying to control me right now.
That's the other part of it, is that like, I don't feel like I was, like, ironically, the thing that I wish I would have done would have been more controlling. Like, let's not have this conversation right now. Zip, 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 zip. There's a better way to do it, but that would be more controlling. I feel like I was misinterpreted as being controlling when I had real reasons to say, chill out.
And I didn't say, I think you are necessarily. I said, it feels like one of those moments in which you're trying to say something to yourself, but you're saying it out loud to me and addressing a problem that I'm not currently experiencing, and you're trying to control the outcome.
That was only 50% of it. And yeah, and I thought you were being, like, I projected on you were being superior. You were projecting on me that I was being controlling, because we know each other's, well, I'm not gonna say that's a weakness of yours, but that's a way that you can be perceived or even misinterpreted. And yes, I am controlling, but not everything a lot of it can be misinterpreted as control when it's something else.
And yes, I am superior, and that can be
See? So
I'm just kidding.
And now, in an effort to further control this podcast, I kind of feel like, do we want to go into this? Because should we table it for the next episode?
I think we have to table this now. The thing that I was prepared to.
Because I want to give it its due.
To make you laugh with.
I want to give it its due, but I'm ready to laugh.
But I'm very flexible. Like, I was really on this track to do this bit that I planned, but I'm so flexible and I can move so quickly from one thing to another.
Because we're at this point in the podcast, we haven't heard any voicemails.
I'm gonna move on to the voicemails.
I mean, if we keep this up, we won't hear any voicemails.
It's not a problem. I'm letting you know. Okay. It's not a problem to take me off of the track.
Should we hug it out?
There is no track. My mind is an ice skating rink, not a series of railroad tracks.
Should we?
You know what I'm saying? There's a difference.
Maybe we should
I'm constantly riding on a Zamboni.
Hand hug it
throughout my mind.
Can we?
There are no tracks.
Something to have some sort of just like emotional conclusion. Should one of us cry? What about just like a 3-finger handshake?
Okay,
all right,
that was worth it.
There we go. All right, that's what you do when you don't want to hug it out, but you want to say it's over. 3 fingers and a thumb.
I'm glad we did that.
What are we promoting today?
We're promoting Best Friends Back All Right, Stevie's podcast that she does with her high school best friend. And the reason, not only are we promoting it because we think you will enjoy it if you enjoy podcasts where 2 friends are connecting, but this particular episode that just released is especially special because I was on it. I'm not saying anything about me necessarily. I'm just saying that if you think that you would enjoy me having a conversation with two women. One of them being
make
Stevie.
it about that. They'll love that.
One of them being Stevie.
Hey, I'm Rhett. You like hearing me talk. How much more will you like hearing me talk to two women? It's like, what a great way to promote. They're gonna hate that. They're gonna delete your episode. They are women.
Stevie's not gonna listen to this promo. But she sure as heck listened to my conversation with her.
Yes, because she was there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we talked about school lunch, which is my favorite time of the day.
Basically what we're saying is, if you're listening to this, you can at least tolerate Rhett. So, you know you'll be able to do that on Stevie and Nagin's show. And then you might start realizing that you should be listening to their show instead of ours. But hopefully you have room for both in your life. It doesn't work like ADHD.
Right.
All right.
Okay, let's listen to our first voicemail.
Hey, Rhett and Link, it's
Hey.
Mitchell. I was today years old when I learned out that Kokomo wasn't a real island. I feel lied to.
What?
Okay,
Thank you for keeping that short, Mitchell.
So, we're talking about the Beach Boys song, which it was called Kokomo?
Yeah, Aruba, that's real. Jamaica, that's real.
You've been there.
Ooh, I want to take you to Bermuda, that's real.
I've been there.
Bahamas. Bahamas are real. Bahama, I don't know if it's real.
Bahama is one of, like Grand Bahama is an island.
Oh, Bahama, come on pretty mama. To Key
Mamas are real.
Largo.
That's real.
That's real. Montego.
That's real. Been there.
You been there?
Montego Bay.
Baby, why don't we go down to Kokomo? Not real? We'll get there fast. I mean, how do you get somewhere fast that doesn't exist? And then we'll take it slow. That's where I want to go.
Way down to Kokomo.
Way down to Kokomo.
You're adding an extra syllable because they did in the thing, but Kokomo is what it is, and just when you speak it.
I feel guilty.
I gotta say, as someone who attended a Beach Boys concert with my dad, in which I danced with two drunk middle-aged women, and also watched John Stamos play the drums.
He's still at it.
I already knew this.
You already knew this?
Yeah, I was maybe, I was probably in my 30s when I learned it.
You gotta say, I was
33
years old
when I learned that Kokomo wasn't real.
That's pretty old.
And just to confirm that,
it came out when we were like 10 or 11.
The most reliable website that I usually get my facts from is beach.com. When you search, so I'm just gonna let you know, just so you understand our sources here. I Googled Kokomo isn't real, and then that thing
that's a biased search
that Google throws up there to kind of give a little summary from a website without you having to go to that website. This is what it says.
Yeah. I love that.
As far as we can tell, there were no actual islands off the Florida Keys or elsewhere in 1988.
As far as we at beach.com can tell.
That were named Kokomo. There is a Kokomo, Indiana. Probably not talking about that.
Yeah,
There's also
you'd have to be north of Indiana to go way down.
There's also a Kokomo Island in Florida. Island in
there you go.
In quotes. But it is a tiki bar named for the song, so it came after. So it seems that, and then this is where beach.com is really beginning to take some license. It seems that Kokomo is more a state of mind than a real place.
Okay, so it's like, but when you're singing that song to your date, and then it's like, all right, packing their bags, and then it's like, well, what are you packing your bags for? This is just a state of mind. Brian Wilson is gonna have to endure some wrath.
You think about how many people, because first of all, that song more than any other song makes you want to travel to the Caribbean, and it really just gets you. And how many people have Googled Kokomo? Because it's like, well, they mention a lot of places that sound awesome, but the place they really want to go is Kokomo. I mean, that's why they named the song that, and that's why the chorus ends with it.
Yeah.
And then you look it up, and more people Google Kokomo with the intention of visiting it and then finding out that it isn't real than probably any other fantasy place. Because people aren't like Googling Atlantis thinking they can get a flight there. They know that it's a place that doesn't exist. Like this has to hold the world record for most searches with the intent to travel to and then to find out that it's not a real place. Can Can that be a world record? Name another place.
I wasn't listening to you because I was
Okay.
reading Google.
Yeah.
I can't name another place if that's what you're asking. Kokomo is from the 1988 film Cocktail, which I haven't seen. It was written by John Phillips, Scott McKenzie, Mike Love of the Beach Boys, Terry Melcher. I'm just trying to figure out why. Like what? The lyrics describe two lovers taking a trip to a relaxing place on Kokomo, a utopic island off the Florida Keys. In addition to the fictional Kokomo, the song also makes reference to unfictional places.
Gotta make it seem real.
Yeah, but I'm just trying to figure out.
It sounds like a place, Kokomo.
Like why? Why did they do this? I just think it's.
They're geniuses.
Mike Love stated that Wilson was not on Kokomo because Eugene Landy, Wilson's therapist turned collaborator, refused to let Brian sing on it. I mean, Brian Wilson did not sing on it unless Landy was a producer and co-writer. Okay, that doesn't get to. So Brian Wilson had nothing to do with it.
Right.
Oh, the group later recorded a Spanish language version of Kokomo with participation from Brian Wilson. But we're not really getting to like.
You're trying to get to like the heart of the why.
Like the why, but let's just move on. I think today we've learned enough about Kokomo. Let's play another one. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
Hi, Link and Rhett. My name is Sarah, and I was today years old when I learned vanilla extract has over 35% alcohol in it. I knew there was some, but not that much. Did y'all know that?
I did not.
Take care.
I did not know that.
So it's 70 proof.
It's
because you double the percentage.
Yeah.
In case you needed to learn that today.
65% water. Good gracious, 35% alcohol. Let me
hold on. So it's 65% water and 35% alcohol. So the vanilla part is alcohol?
According to the FDA, vanilla extract is a mixture of vanilla scent and flavor characteristic and alcohol. To be exact, the FDA requires an ethyl alcohol content of at least 35% for a product to be considered vanilla extract. But because it's not characterized as a beverage, it's not regulated, so you can just buy it off the shelf. And yes, there are articles addressing the fact that kids are getting drunk off this stuff.
How? Okay.
You take a few
vanilla
shots.
Extract is doled out. First of all, it's usually doled out into baked items that are gonna be cooked, and at that point, it doesn't matter.
Right, it cooks
But I
away.
put it into, well, this is cooking it. I put it in, this little secret, I put it into my pancake mix. If you're making pancakes, you put a little vanilla, is how I say it when I'm doing it on Saturday morning. You put a little vanilla into it, and it makes it taste great. My kids have never gotten drunk because we're talking about drops, and then we're cooking.
No, but you can get a big bottle of it, definitely.
But think about how
Just
hard
right
that
off
is to drink.
Well, I mean, if you take a couple of shots, you can get drunk.
Well, I think you deserve it if you've done that much
think about
work.
how hard it is to drink vodka. I mean,
what?
It's got the same alcohol content of Jägermeister. All right?
Jägermeister's not great by itself.
I think that's easy to drink. I don't know if I've ever had it. Kids are coming up with new ways to get a buzz, and this is just one of the ways they're doing it. How does it work exactly? According to kidsactivities.com, apparently kids are going to the grocery store, heading down the baking aisle to buy a small bottle of bourbon vanilla extract. Yep. Last year, many news stories about students sneaking into school with this undercover alcohol, mixing vanilla extract into coffee, drinking it, and then heading to school where they are buzzed.
I mean, I just have listen, I know kidsactivities.com is a great website. I just have a lot of issues with this. I just don't.
Really? What?
I don't think you can put vanilla extract into your coffee at the levels that are tolerable to make drinking a cup of coffee worth it and get drunk. Is it really happening?
Yes.
Is it really happening?
Chris Thomas, a drug counselor with the Wayne County Mental Health Department, told the Wayne Times.
Is that Wayne County, North Carolina?
I don't know. Drinking the vanilla extract is similar to drinking a strong vanilla flavored cough medicine.
Yeah, not fun.
Scissor. If you think vanilla extract is harmful, you should know that pure peppermint extract contains 89% alcohol. That's even harder.
Now
to
there we
drink.
go.
And pure lemon extract is 83% alcohol. Both these extracts can cause intoxication. So I mean, choose your flavor.
I'm just saying.
It's best to talk with your teens to inform them that they can do this.
As a parent.
That's what it says.
As
this
a
is
parent,
dangerous and is not worth being peer pressured into trying.
As a parent, I do not believe this is something that we should be concerned about.
Well, as a parent, I believe that when you talk to them, then there is today I learned that
Today I learned how to get drunk.
How to get drunk without
Today I learned one more way to get drunk.
Being carded. Hey, I mean, knowledge is power.
Let's listen to the next one.
All right, here we go.
Hey, Rhett and Link.
Yo.
I have a couple of today I learned that were actually happened like a few minutes ago. And then I saw Rhett tweeted this and I was like, that's perfect. My boyfriend informed me that the mask in the Halloween franchise is just a William Shatner mask painted white. Literally had no idea. That is terrifying. And the other one
Halloween
that I was
movie.
thinking about when I was at the grocery store was when you're buying half a chicken, you're sharing a meal with someone else. Someone else is eating the other half of that chicken. And it could be a stranger.
Probably
Or I
is.
guess you could buy two halves of the same chicken. That would be like a whole chicken.
Yeah, but
you understand what I mean. All right. Love the show. Bye, guys.
Wow. Okay.
Thanks for loving the show. See, this is so friendly.
I love it.
I don't think she said her name.
I think she did.
Well, we'll call her Claire because I don't remember. Thanks, Claire. Being a fan of the show and for giving us a twofer.
Let's start with the chicken. And that feels more like a shower thought than a today I learned.
Yeah, it's not something that it's not it is a fact, I guess.
And
it's more of a realization, you know? Today I realized.
And I think it ultimately applies to basically everything in the grocery store in some ways. Like, you know, when you get a can of corn, well, somebody else got a can of corn that's probably got corn from the same cob in it. You probably have corn from
you're sharing,
hundreds of cobs.
You're sharing
cobs. You're probably sharing corn with thousands of people.
I mean,
if by that definition.
How many cows in a burger?
Well, it depends on the burger. At McDonald's, it's gonna be potentially thousands.
A single package of conventional ground beef might contain meat from 100, 400, even 1,000 cows. Yes, there have been studies that have found traces of DNA from up to 1,000 cows in a single package of ground beef. And how am I supposed to feel about this? I feel nothing. I feel nothing about it.
Well, you feel, I mean.
Like I don't have to feel something about everything. What's behind the question?
Right. I guess in one sense, you know, by spreading out the impact across multiple cows, it's like one cow is not suffering as much as 1,000 cows.
So you're saying they pluck a little bit, that's not how.
That's not how it works?
They pluck a little bit and say, we'll come back for you.
This is not, the vegans are not gonna be happy about this point of the conversation.
But yeah, half a chicken.
I'm a proponent of plant-based meat and also lab-grown meat, which I believe I'm excited about personally.
Yeah. I'm excited about your excitement for it.
But you know, we'll talk about that years to come. The second part of this, I knew. Did you know about the Shatner thing?
I knew about this. I think.
Did we learn this at the same time?
Around the holiday of Halloween, people are talking about like Halloween trivias. So I think I remember the story being they're making Halloween the movie and they needed to get a mask and like somebody, like a prop person like went to a store and like grabbed a mask.
Well,
and it was a William Shatner
I can
mask.
give you the story link, another website, StarTrek.com.
Okay, this is official.
This is an article from the website. Rick Sternbach, an illustrator and designer on Star Trek, the motion picture, The Next Generation, Deep Space Nine, Voyager, and Nemesis.
Okay.
Posted the following on his Facebook page a few years back, writing, there are a number of historical threads through various production people over the years that validate that. I've got one of those threads here. I've told this story once or twice before. I was hired as an illustrator on Halloween 2 in 1981, working for production designer J. Michael Riva. In a supply cabinet at Pumpkin Pie Productions, we had one mask left from the original Halloween and no idea where to get any others for the sequel. It appeared that we'd need to go check out some of the toy stores and such, but I noticed that there was some wording molded into the neck area. There was a model number and Don Post Studios. I made a call, read off the model number, and the word came back. It's our Captain Kirk mask. I asked if we could buy a number of them and was told, we'll give you a box, just give us credit. With that, I turned the official dealings over to the higher-ups, brushed with greatness. So apparently—
it's Michael Myers. I don't know, we haven't said Michael Myers, but that's the Michael Myers mask is a William Shatner mask.
And it was used
so
on Star Trek.
looking.
It was a death mask created for Star Trek. So—
What do you mean a death mask?
Well, does death mask mean something that I guess it probably means something that we don't understand because we don't know anything
Didn't
about
you
this.
learn to speak Klingon at that one brunch you went to?
But I think ultimately what it is it was like a mask to be used on Star Trek when they needed someone to look like William Shatner being dead or, you know, it's basically, it's like the mask you put on a stunt double that when you want him to look like the person.
Well, they cut the eye holes bigger and it makes it look less like William Shatner. Like I can see the William Shatner death mask here. I think they enlarged the holes.
And they also took the hair, which was combed into a William Shatner part, and they did it straight back, which is unsettling. So the Michael Myers straight back hair. Wow.
Okay, but we already knew that, Claire. I know that's your alias. We love you. All right, another.
I was today years old when I learned evergreens were called evergreens because the trees stay forever green. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a reason you didn't give your name. Because that is freaking embarrassing. I think it's it's not that she thought it was called evergreen for another reason. It's just something you never think of. That's just what it's called, evergreen. It's a word without meaning that just, I picture a pine tree.
I feel like there's like 3 things that I still remember from elementary school, and this is one of them. You know what I'm saying?
Deciduous trees.
I mean, I do know that, but I think that you're getting a little bit more advanced. I think that
Thank you.
2 of the 3 things that I remember from elementary school. The first is that if you carve your name on a tree 4 feet up and the tree grows another 100 years, it'll still be 4 feet up.
Okay.
Okay.
Because of the apical meristem.
Because of the apical meristem. And the second thing is the evergreen stays green all year. I mean, it's like—
what else could it mean? You know? It's just like, gee. Yeah, you don't have to give your name.
Right. And there's a
It
reason
makes
for
it
that.
harder for us to personalize us making fun of you. Mythical beast coming through. And you know what? That's the whole point though. It's like, it's a bit of a confession. I was today years old
Yeah, exactly.
when I learned that evergreen meant that, well, it's a beautiful thing for them to be so, for them not to shed their leaves. I prefer it, you know?
But the thing is that they do shed. I mean,
They do. Yeah, they do.
Go into a pine forest and just see how many pine needles are on the floor of the forest.
My papa cut down, he had these like, he had like a pine forest in his lawn there in Lillington. And I'll be damn. If he didn't cut them all down.
William Shatner.
He was just, he was so tired of like having to scrape up all these pine needles that he just cut down all the trees. I was like, it was beautiful.
Do you think they shed their needles at a steady rate throughout the year, or is there a moment of shedding and they're just immediately replaced?
Man, we are really good.
While you're looking that up, I will say, speaking of William Shatner.
A moment of shedding for pine trees.
So if you've watched Inside Eats, our show on the Food Network, you know that we do voiceover and we are kind of like, you know, we're talking about what we're doing when we're doing it. And because you had to go back to North Carolina for Lewis's funeral, we actually had to do our voiceover session separate. I did my voiceover session at a place in Burbank, and you did yours in Raleigh somewhere. At different times, right?
I did it in Fayetteville.
Vietnam,
some sort of like
a bunker.
It was kind of a bunker.
But
what are you getting at?
Yeah, stay tuned. I was sitting in the chair there and getting ready to go and do my VO. And the guy, the operator, engineer, was like, you know who was sitting in that chair yesterday? William Shatner.
Really?
And then he said,
did you feel his butt imprint?
he was like, can you smell the fear?
Yes, I can smell the fear.
But do you know why he said that? Because
No.
he, the engineer, having done this for many, many years, was
Afraid.
so intimidated by William Shatner that he was like, I'm sure I leaked fear into this room. Can you still smell the fear from yesterday?
I guess, I mean, and after the fact, I guess he was validating that he's an intimidating guy.
I've seen William Shatner 2 times
At a restaurant.
during my Los Angeles living.
What was the second time? Another restaurant?
I think it was another restaurant.
Okay, he'll eat.
He will.
He eats just like the rest of us.
Uh-huh.
You know how he puts on his pants?
Well,
He teleports into them.
yeah, exactly.
Although longleaf pines do retain some needles year-round, in years with normal rainfall, individual bundles of needles generally remain on the tree for 2 growing seasons and are shed in the fall.
So they do lose their stuff in the fall. They just do it every 2 years and it's immediately regenerated.
You feel good about this? You
Yeah,
feel like
yeah,
we
yeah.
learned you feel like we learned enough here?
Yeah, let's move on.
I was today years old when I realized that uppercase letters are called uppercase because typesetters used to keep their capital letters in the top box, therefore uppercase.
Okay, this is
Upper.
all right.
So in
I was today years old when I learned this one. We've hit one.
so there's 2. They have 2 cases.
Yeah.
At least 2. There's a uppercase and a lower case that holds the typesetter holds their things. Nobody needs to know this.
Well,
I'm
really,
just trying to
you're
trying to be stodgy.
You're judging this as like you
No,
don't need
this
to know this.
I mean, it's cool.
Lowercase, uppercase.
Man, isn't it great that we don't have to do that now? That we have typewriters?
What's your general feeling about uppercase letters in general?
I could do without them. I don't really think they're necessary. Think about it.
That's kind of what I was getting at.
Yeah. I mean, you definitely, I'm a fan of punctuation. And I cannot stop putting 2 spaces after every period that I type.
I noticed that.
I cannot stop. It's like, you told me, I don't know, it might have been 9 months ago. And that was a big, by the way, I was today years old. I was 43 years old when I learned that now you don't have to space twice after the end of a period at the end of a sentence. Like, I did not know that.
Well, and the interesting
and
thing
it makes
is,
total sense because why? Well, there's a period.
I think that our typing instructor,
Space.
I think even in 1994,
It's muscle memory.
when we were learning
Period.
that,
Space.
When
It's,
we were
it's one thing to me.
when we were learning that in 1994, I don't even think it was important at the time. I don't think it's like, oh, it's changed that much since the 90s. I just think it was never that important to do, but it was technically correct according to one school of thought, and we happen to go to that school.
Yeah, and once I'm graded on something, I just can't unlearn it.
But like in general, I think the only good reason for
Now,
uppercase.
I just want to clarify. Once I'm graded on something, I completely forget it.
Of course, you're normal.
But
that's what all students
unless
do.
it's muscle memory. And then it's like, once I'm told the right way to do something, even if it's wrong, it's really hard to undo it, especially in muscle memory. I think that's like a military technique.
The only valid reason for uppercase letters is passwords. You can't even convince me that they're necessary for like proper nouns. Look, John Stamos. Okay, let's talk about him again. I try to do that as much as I can. You write John Stamos and you don't capitalize the J and the S, you think I'm confused?
You might be referring to John Stamos, the impersonal noun.
Exactly.
It's like if you're going, if you're traveling south to Kokomo, you might encounter John Stamos, which is just, it's kind of like an oasis.
It's
but
not the John Stamos.
Instead of water, it's a pile of drums.
I mean, I'm
Oh,
sure.
look, a John Stamos.
I'm sure there, you know, and you can use 1-888
person?
EarPod 1
Or the Oasis.
to explain this to us, but like, just I know I'm just probably wrong about this, but it's like, You think we can get by without them? I think we can get by without them. We can get by without them.
Can we thrive without them? Defend the uppercase. 1-888 earpod 1.
Wow.
Today I learned that coffee cake isn't actually cake flavored like coffee. It's cake you eat with coffee.
Is that it? You done? Okay. I think I always knew this. I don't think coffee cake is not made of coffee.
Well,
I could see how you think that.
It's just not flavored like coffee. It doesn't have there's no espresso, it's not tiramisu, it's to accompany coffee.
Yeah, I guess in fairness, you know how I know this?
Because you've never eaten it.
No, because I have eaten it.
Oh.
And it doesn't taste like coffee.
Do you like it?
I do like it. I like it because it's not as sweet. I don't like sweets that are too sweet. Especially, I don't know, it just makes me feel a little better. And I like it's a moist thing. It's got some crumbly stuff on top.
And get some ribbons.
It's like sugar, it's like granular sugar stuff on top. And then it's real moist underneath. I like a bready dessert, you know?
Well, I think it was, when I ate it as a kid, my mom would have it, and I always felt like I was eating something that was intended for adults only.
Yeah.
It was like drinking vanilla extract straight. You know what I mean? It was like, this is an adult dessert, coffee cake. Kids are not supposed to have this. You gotta at least, your balls have to have dropped in order for you to really partake in this legally. You know, it's what it felt like for me. But it's not true. It's just.
No, that's not true.
Yeah. Because it goes with coffee, and you're not really supposed to have coffee as a kid. Even though like Shepard's been having a cup of coffee in the morning since he was about 7.
Really?
And just in case you're wondering if it causes the stunting of the growth, I was looking at the wall the other day when we started measuring Shepard with the little
10 years ago?
No.
Well,
like,
in the house you've been
at
in.
the beginning of
ago?
at the beginning of the pandemic, it hit us. Shepard, it seems to be growing. We should do that thing that people do in their houses where you like mark their heights. We had never done that. And it's in the kitchen, just on the wall in the kitchen.
That's one of my biggest regrets.
It's not even in like a pantry, just on the wall in the kitchen.
Not doing that.
Shepard has grown from 5'2" to 5'10" over the course of the pandemic. Okay, and actually I think it may be more than that
inches in
because
2
we
years.
started measuring him after he'd already gotten a little bit above
8
that.
8 inches in less than 2 years.
And there was one part where it was like Jesse had done like July to August. Okay, so it was 3 months. It was July to September, so 2 months. 2 months is what I'm trying to say, because it was a 7 something and then a 9 something. And he had grown over 1 inch. I think, I
mean, talk about growing like a weed.
There's apparently there's this seaweed, and it's off the coast of Catalina. With your little scuba stuff, you might be able to go see this.
Okay.
It's
actually a big deal. Don't call it my little scuba stuff.
With your big scuba stuff,
it requires lots of testing, know-how, certification.
I just didn't want to make too big of a deal of it. Bladder.
I don't want to talk about it because it makes me anxious.
Okay, bladder seaweed. I think it's called.
Yeah, the ones that have the bulb, I guess.
I think it grows like 12 feet a day or something like that. I don't know. I'm not gonna do it today. I learned about this. You can look it up at beach.com. But
yeah, Shepard shot up. That's your point.
But you can see it growing. And I think that if you're growing, if
growing.
a person is growing an inch in 2 months, I think you could probably catch it on like an iPhone.
Well, I mean,
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, forget putting notches on your wall. Just do a time lapse with your iPhone.
Yeah, there's a time lapse feature.
Yeah, there's a certain time. I mean, I remember growing pains. I mean, you definitely have some pain if you're growing that fast.
Because that's not what happened with me. I
remember it.
I wasn't normal and then tall. I was just tall straight out of the womb. Like 3 years into my life, I was already tall. And so it was just always a lot of growth, but not I mean, he had a growth spurt.
Yeah, he came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
It's wild, man.
My name's Abby. Calling. This one is for Link.
Oh.
Today I learned that in the U.S., peanut butter must contain 90% peanuts. Otherwise, it has to be called peanut spread. So, yeah, just remember that.
Thanks, Abby. So, peanut spread, but where do you get peanut spread? I mean, what even is peanut spread? Have I been eating it? I mean, Jif is peanut spread.
I would think
brand.
it's, you know that there's that brand of peanut butter where they mix it with all kinds of different things. Like, oh, there's the peanut butter with chocolate and there's a peanut butter with so-and-so. I think that they probably have to call that peanut spread because they're messing up the percentages.
Oh.
I mean, what else could you put in peanut butter? Coke? I'm talking about cocaine.
Why would you talk about that?
I don't know, because this feels like we grew up in a time where like people were just putting cocaine in different things.
Protein peanut spread. Yeah, I mean, it's like if there's, like I'm shopping for peanut spread now. Yeah, it's like when you've got dark chocolate in it.
Well, that Earth Balance right there. We've had that before. Click on that. Now that's got coconut in it.
Yeah, it's got coconut in it, that's why. Creamier tasting, lighter spreading, fancier topping. I mean, we need to send this over to Spork. I wanna know what the best peanut spread is. Because I like the idea of a good spread, you know. Spread. Yeah, this is intriguing. I mean, there's some good looking peanut spreads, but because it's a mixture of other stuff. Sinister Labs makes a peanut spread. Honey Graham Cracker. Oh, yes. Honey cinnamon flavored peanut spread. Yep, it's got the other stuff in it. So it just can't be peanut butter.
What do you think is more important? Uppercase letters or the people who determine that you can't call something peanut butter unless it's got 90%? Like, what do you think would change if that person didn't exist?
I think the regulations need not apply to peanut butter, but they do. It's just like one of those things where it's like the regulations aren't to protect people from peanut butter. Of course, there is the allergies. But if you're getting peanut butter and peanut spread, you're gonna be allergic either way, I think. I think it's for other things where it's like, you just can't call something, people buy it, think they're eating it. I mean, that's pretty important. Maybe not for peanut butter.
Like certain cheeses, okay? So I know you can't call something cheese unless it's actually cheese. And technically American cheese is not, like a Kraft single or something is not American cheese, so it's called cheese product or something like that?
Yeah.
Is that important? I mean, maybe it is. Again, I'm asking the question.
I do think there's places where it's important, but I still don't know if cheese is one of them.
Okay.
So I don't know what it is. It could be, I don't know.
I mean, obviously,
at a certain point,
like a medicine.
it's a truth in advertising, yeah. If it's some sort of medicine, yeah.
Let's limit it to
medicine. It's good to know though. I mean, it's like, because now I've just opened up my palate, you know? I also like peanut butter spreads.
It feels like some of these things may exist so that you could you could talk about it at a party. And this is not the kind of thing that you actually
I wouldn't party talk peanut spread.
Yeah, this doesn't meet the criteria. Kokomo not being a real place, that's party talk.
That does.
You know that peanut butter has to be 90% peanuts. If it's not, it's peanut spread.
Are you really saying
that guy should be asked to leave the party?
That this part of the podcast is starting to suck? Is that really what you're saying?
No.
Like, because that's kind of the litmus test of this podcast.
No.
I mean, if you can't.
Not everything that we say doesn't have to be repeatable at a party because then it just all becomes one big blur.
So this is not party talk. It's like you gotta have some ebbs and flows. You gotta have some dynamic range to your conversation.
And I don't think it's bad. I'm just saying it's just not party talk. It's just something to take to your own brain.
You're right. What you just heard was the boring part of this Ear Biscuit episode.
That's not what I was saying.
Now you can appreciate this next recording.
Hello.
Hi.
My name is Jessica, and I was today years old when I learned that a cloud can weigh over 1 million pounds due to the amount of water that can be found inside of it. Have a great day, everyone.
directed out to the audience, an awareness that this would be played for millions of listeners, millions of listeners have now learned, through her, did she give her name?
Yeah, Jessica. With all the cloud facts.
Millions of people have learned through Jessica that a cloud can weigh 1,000,000 tons. 1,000,000 pounds?
Well, and
I'm not a good listener.
I can verify it, Link. You don't have to play it again.
Oh, good.
znews.india.com.
They have clouds.
As per research, an average cumulus cloud weighs an incredible 500,000 kilograms or 1.1 million pounds. The equivalent weight
of— The average one.
Oh, that's just an average.
That makes it even more party talk. You know, the average cloud, it's not that a cloud could, it's that the average one does.
The equivalent weight of 100 plus elephants. A lot more than you think, right? Okay, listen, you don't need that. Clouds may look so light and fluffy, but the fact is they're actually quite heavy. And then the question that follows is, if they're so heavy, why don't they fall? And then it's like, ding, ding, ding. Ever heard of rain?
Ha! Got him. Can you still say got him?
Yeah, you just did.
It felt appropriate.
Yeah.
Man, because you did.
If they're that heavy, why don't they fall? Ding, ding, ding. Now you can
Clouds
say ding, ding,
fall.
ding. You can say ding, ding, ding at a party, but you better follow up with something everybody needs to hear.
It's very condescending. You know, if you're gonna ding ding somebody at a party, that's yeah, it's like, it seems like something you'd try. It's one thing to say calm down in a fight. It's another thing to ding ding somebody in a fight.
I've never offended anyone at a party.
It's just like, what's the point of this fight anyway? Ding 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 ding. You know, it's like, try that with Jesse next time you guys get into a fight.
That sounds like you're trying to end the fight with the bell. If you're in a fight,
no,
like, ding, and you go to the corner.
Ding. Oh, they also start the rounds, don't they?
Yeah, they do both, yeah.
So it's really hard to say.
It goes both ways.
Okay. But I just think you should try it in a fight. Because it's in a game show way. It's all about the tone.
Moving along.
Hi, my name is Aaliyah, and I was today years old when I learned that when put into water, limes, they sink, the lemons, they float. I'm not saying limes are witches, but I'm also not saying that. Okay, have a good one, bye.
Wow, okay.
What?
Now this,
Aaliyah.
This feels not only like something that you would talk about at a party, but something you would demonstrate. And then after you got done with it, you'd be like, ding, ding, ding. That's optional,
no, you'd
the
say,
last part.
Which one are these gonna float or sink?
And then everybody would be like, are we that drunk?
Ding, ding, ding,
you know, like,
ding, ding. Yes, you are.
That feels like a magic thing to do. Now, is it real? Did you follow this one up?
Limes and lemons both have densities that are very close to water. So you would expect that they would both float. Ding, ding, ding.
However,
limes are slightly denser than lemons, which is why they sink and lemons float. Huh. Across the board, I wonder? There's gotta be outliers.
You could probably find a floating lime.
Floating lime.
That'd be a good name for a bar in Kokomo. The Floating Lime.
Yep.
Tonight, John Stamos.
Yep.
Solo drums.
Oh, there's a mildly interesting Reddit thread about this. I see a picture right here. The lemons at the top and the limes at the bottom.
And it's in one of those flavored water things, which I love.
That's kind of cool. Like if you've got a clear water spigot container, you get the lemons are at the top and the limes are at the bottom. So it's like a demonstration.
I love when they put fruit in water like that, in like a hotel lobby. Dang, that's some good water.
Mm-hmm.
They should put fruit in water towers. There's probably a community out there that's considering that.
Well, I think that might.
Like somewhere in the Northwest, progressive place.
Well,
did you hear about that little city outside of Portland? They got strawberries in the water tower.
Well,
everybody loves it.
My hydro flask, my trusty big black hydro flask.
Yeah, you never leave home without it.
Well, it went missing. And then all of a sudden it turned up. And I started drinking out of it again. And I was like, what?
Fruity.
It was fruity. There was like a residual fruit in it. And I'll tell you, someone obviously had fruitified my Hydro Flask, and it took
somebody. Oh, this is weird. Somebody at your house?
Somebody at my house put some, and it might have been like they put tea in there. They did something with it.
This doesn't seem like something that could happen to your Hydro Flask
I know,
at your own home.
Because it's always on my person. I don't know.
That's troubling. Do you know who did it?
No, you know why I didn't ask?
Because you kind of liked it.
Because I kind of liked it.
Yeah.
I think you're onto something. Put it in the water supply.
I mean, they put fluoride in there to control our brains. Why don't they also put fruit flavor in there?
I think we can sneak somewhere around here in LA. It's like just south of the treatment plant.
We're climbing up a water tower like those kids who are gonna deface it, but we just have a big bucket of strawberries.
Yeah, we're just trying to like spice up people's life, just fruitify it a little bit. I mean, I wasn't complaining. I was like, wow. And it took a long time to get rid of that taste. And now I miss it.
And you miss it.
I think like 6 weeks.
Yeah, this is why I drink LaCroix.
I only put water in my Hydro Flask so I don't have to really wash it. I wash the cap, but like.
You don't have to wash out fruit. Fruit's clean. We need to verify that before we would load it into the water tower.
Well, I'll just search right now. Is fruit?
Is fruit clean?
Is fruit clean?
Yeah.
Germs on the peel or skin can get inside fruits and vegetables when you cut them. Washing
that's
fruits
a
and
myth.
vegetables.
That's a myth. Fruit is sterile. You heard it here.
With soap, detergent, or commercial produce wash is not recommended by the CDC.
You can rub fruit on an open wound.
Is the water in fruit clean?
Fruit water. That's what we could call it. We probably do need to deface take the name of the town off of the water tower and just put fruit water on it so people know that what we've done.
Here's an article. Do you really need to wash fruit before you eat it? This is a Men's Health article. Of course, this is what men.
If you're a man, you really gotta look like a dork and like put this apple under the sink.
Now I'll wash a tater. That's obvious.
Because it's a root vegetable. It's been in the dirt.
Ding 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 ding.
An apple's just been in the air. Okay, yes, I know about pesticides. Don't call 188-EARPOD 1 and let us know that.
Hey, Rhett and Link. Long time, first time. Today I learned a pretty interesting fact that if you say buffalo 8 times in a row, it grammatically counts as a sentence, and it would sound like buffalo, 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 buffalo. Have fun with that one.
What?
Okay.
It grammatically counts as a sentence?
Because buffalo can function as every part of speech. It can be a noun. It can be a verb.
Okay, well that's an animal. How do you how is buffalo a verb?
I don't know, look it up, dictionary.com. It can also be an adjective. It's also a place. Buffalo, New York.
The verb for buffalo is to overawe or intimidate someone. She didn't like being buffaloed.
Okay, there you go. So
but
buffalo.
I don't see an adjective.
No, okay, I think I can figure this out. Buffalo. So these are buffalo from buffalo, okay?
Yep.
Buffalo. So those buffalo from buffalo are doing the act of buffaloing. Buffalo, other buffalo.
Yep.
So we're 4 deep now.
Yep.
I don't know where to go now.
We're done. Buffalo. So that's buffalo from buffalo.
Buffalo. Other buffalo from buffalo. So now we're 5 deep.
What?
Buffalo. They verb. Buffalo.
5.
But. No, there's no but.
But fellow? But fellow?
No. I'm sure somebody has done this.
He's really.
Buffalo sentence.
We're not just gonna take your word for it.
Oh, you know what? I think we just figured it out, Link. It's not 8, it's 5. A history of the sentence, buffalo from William J. Rappaport, my favorite Rappaport.
Oh, is that Michael's older brother, the author?
Oh, no. Look, see also, so the history, okay, the original one was 5.
Which we
got
easily.
Also, May 4th, 2008, buffalo. I think I did it 8 times. Is also, he was right, sorry to doubt you for a second.
Okay.
So, So it was originally, okay, so this is what it is, the parts of speech. Okay, here's a sentence diagram link.
Oh, I love diagramming sentences.
So the traditional sentence diagram of this is, okay, parsed out as a description. Those buffalo, whom buffalo, what?
Well, I think you have to, it says to crack the code of this mystical combo, there are diagrams, articles, and videos all over the internet. Some can be helpful, others make an already confusing sentence even more convincing. Well, that settles it for me. You know what? I'm not ready to talk about this. I'm just not in the right headspace. I think you've got a good question here, but I'm not ready to answer it because I need to perform well on this podcast.
Well, here is another, this is how you can understand it. Bison from Buffalo, New York, who are intimidated by other bison in their community also happen to intimidate other bison in their community. That's what the sentence means.
Oh.
So it's buffalo,
verb,
buffalo,
place,
buffalo, buffalo. I don't know how you get past, I don't know what happens.
We only need 3 more.
Buffalo from Buffalo.
Buffalo.
Buffalo. Oh, buffalo from Buffalo. Buffalo from Buffalo.
What? Do the bison one again. So it's like, let me do it. Buffalo bison. Buffalo bison.
Yes, then what?
Buffalo bison.
That's right, but how can you do that without a comma? What am I missing? That's why I'm not good at chess. I can only go 5 buffalo
I think what
deep.
you really should ask is like, how can you do it without capital letters?
Oh shoot.
Because buffalo,
come full
now
circle.
we freaking derived why you need capital letters.
Uppercase letters are necessary because of this sentence.
Uppercase.
They're okay, and I should have known that.
So you'll know that we're talking about the town of Buffalo and not the animal or the verb.
Oh yeah, because here it is with the buffalo.
You're just saying buffalo, dude. Your emphasis helps a little bit,
okay.
But I mean,
buffalo.
Anyone who there's so few people who care about this anymore.
Buffalo, New York, Buffalo.
Buffalo,
New York, Buffalo. Buffalo,
New York, Buffalo.
There's 2 verbs in a row. Cause they buffalo. That's it. No, that's a V. I can see it.
There can't be 2 verbs in a row.
It's proper noun, adjective.
No. See, we
go to the wiki.
I believe we have it.
Go to the wiki that's called Buffalo. And then you'll learn all about it.
Okay, I'm exhausted. Let's end this. I mean,
I had a lot of fun, man.
There's a reason why it's today I learned, and the implication is that it's only one thing. It's like once you learn the one thing, it's like you can hang it up. That's been my philosophy.
I just gotta say,
once I learn the one thing, I'm done for the day.
I had an incredible time. I much prefer this method. Okay, just so you know, in terms of what I'm only speaking for myself. I don't know about you.
You're talking about the 188 EarPod 1?
I much prefer hearing your voice than just reading your tweet.
Yeah, you gotta really mean it. There's a barrier to entry, and it's personal, and I like it. Call in and let us know what you think. I'd like to be able to respond to some of your responses and also be looking on Twitter. But you know what? You can also use hashtag Ear Biscuits because we're not gonna neglect that.
We're still reading.
Let me give my rec.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm changing it on the fly. This is a dynamic situation. There's it's volatile.
Zamboni.
I recommend if you have children, go ahead and start lining them up on the wall and making the tick marks. It's never too late to start. Do it today. Do it today. And then when they have their friends come over, do it to some of them too.
Lando's on our wall.
I remember that.
Mm-hmm.
And then we kind of fell out of that.
He needs to come back over and get measured.
All right, yeah, I'll send him over. Well, I think I was measured too, but I was an adult.
I'm not even on the wall, I don't think.
Right.
Because it's just intimidating.
Hey, you need to start measuring your shrinking.
Yep.
Do it today. Take action.
And don't forget to call 1-888.
You really pushing it.
Earpod 1.
To watch more Ear Biscuits, click on the playlist on the right.
To watch the previous episode of Ear Biscuits, click on the playlist to the left.
And don't forget to click on the circular icon to subscribe.
If you prefer to listen to this podcast, it's available on all your favorite podcast platforms. Thanks for being your mythical best.